This is Megan Marie coming to you with a movie review. I took the time to watch the Hellraiser Hulu adaptation of it, and this is my review. So the first things first, let's just jump right in. It's Pinhead. That's what everybody was trying to see. Like, what is going on? Doug Bradley has made that role iconic, made that character iconic, and right off the bat, no one was going to play it better, or let me not say better, because better is subjective. No one was going to play it like him. Okay, and you can feel whatever you feel about that. No one was going to play that role like him. So there was no expectation on my part of it being what the original was. They haven't been able to remake the original they haven't been able to remake the magic of the original Hellraisers for like the last 6 sequels of the Hellraiser, okay, of the franchise, okay. They haven't. The best ones were 1 and 2, and I think 3 was all right. So they've never rekindled that because Clive Barker wasn't directly involved in the franchise, in the installments of the franchise that followed. I think the second one. So there was no expectation of that. However, there was a lot of hoopla, and the main part of that hoopla was that the character of Pinhead was going to be played by Jamie Clayton, who is a woman, who identifies as a woman. And so a lot of people were upset because they feel like, okay, they're making it woke. I didn't care about that. I just didn't. Because when it comes to performing, can you do it good? Can I be entertained? And good, and this is all about taste. Will the performance be entertaining? It really doesn't matter who plays the part. I didn't know that. I didn't even know who. The idea of Doug Bradley being Pinhead, nobody knew that Hellraiser was going to be what it was. Nobody, that type of horror, it changed horror. It changed the idea of what the main character in a horror film can be. Pinhead wasn't a mindless monster. He was very sophisticated, very intelligent, very intriguing, had swagger, all these things. And Freddy Krueger was like that too, mind you, which was played by not Robert Englund, but Robert, let me see, Freddy Krueger was played by yes, Robert Englund, not England, England, Englund. I've never seen that kind of spelling, but nobody portrayed it like him. Nobody did, because he brung that was a charismatic horror character, as was Pinhead. So I didn't expect her to do what Doug Bradley did. I just thought that having the character played by to be played by an actress as opposed to an actor would be an interesting take. I wanted to see what that persona of that type of Pinhead would be. So I thought it was an interesting idea, and I was excited to see. However, well, let me say off the jump, it was a good movie. I was genuinely scared, and that's saying a lot, because a lot of these new movies are not scary. A lot of these horror films in this era of horror just aren't scary. They just aren't. It's too much talk. The dialogue isn't. It's just a bunch of mess. Now, I will say that Netflix had a version. They had a, was it Chainsaw? It wasn't Texas. Was it a remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre? That was good. But all in all, it was a scary film. It was very entertaining. But the film, okay, let's talk about the Cenobites. Okay, let's talk about the Cenobites. The Cenobites, they have, let's see, one of the characters that were playing the Cenobites was Selena Lowe. And she played, her Cenobite was the only other Cenobite besides Pinhead that spoke. And no, wait, I think that was, wait, let me see if she played the Cenobite. Let me make sure. Yeah. Selena Lowe. Her character, her acting abilities exceeded. She was actually the better Cenobite in that film. Actually better than Pinhead. She was. Her role in it was done really good. It was. She was more dominant. She just played her character better, and I think her character was the Gasp. She should have, in my opinion, they should have had her play Pinhead. She was better. She just, her Cenobite had more personality and brung more to the role acting wise. Her Cenobite was, yeah, she should have played Pinhead. Jamie Clayton's rendition of Pinhead. If Pinhead, you're gonna go in with the expectations that Doug Bradley put out there, and any other person who's played Pinhead has been compared to him. Okay, so that's gonna happen. So it was very lackluster, extremely lackluster. It was just the main person speaking for the group of the Cenobites. There was no dominance. There was no, you weren't afraid of this Pinhead. Okay, you just weren't. There wasn't any. She played the role good. She was the main horror monster amongst horror monsters in that, amongst the Cenobites. She spoke for the Cenobites, but you didn't feel like she was the leader of the Cenobites. You just didn't. She didn't. The movie wasn't about Pinhead. You weren't drawn in. The Cenobite that really drove you in the most was the Gasp, and that was played by Selena Lowe. They would have been better off having her play Pinhead. But with that being said, this wasn't the original, and they weren't trying to remake the original. So also, the Cenobites and their appearance. I was expecting the leather. The leather mattered. The leather mattered because they end up making, the fact that the Cenobites kind of looked human is what made them very intriguing. In this rendition of it, the Cenobites look like aliens from outer space. They look like something off of X-Files. They had no clothes, and it was just this weird gray flesh, and it didn't look very, it wasn't, it was nothing scary. But the film was scary. Okay, it's the film, everybody in the film, including Jamie Clayton, did a good job making a good horror film. That's all it was. It was a good, scary horror film. It wasn't as intellectually intriguing as the original, but I didn't expect that. It wasn't as it just didn't have the swagger, if I could say that, of the original one. It just like you wasn't intrigued by that. Like if I had to buy, like I have a model figure of the original Pinhead, and I don't want to, if I buy any Cenobite, if they make any toys from this line, the Cenobite that I'm going to get is the Gasp, which was played by Selena Lowe. Because, yeah, she was good. She seemed like the leader of the Cenobites. She outperformed Pinhead. Her Cenobite was more exciting. She seemed like the leader of the Cenobites. Now, in the original one, you had Pinhead, and then you have another Cenobite that spoke, and that was it. The other Cenobites did not speak, with the exception of, I think, C's in part 2, when they made the psychiatrist in the second movie, and turned him into a Cenobite, and he spoke. But outside of that, it was just Pinhead who spoke, and then the one, his like, I guess his lieutenant Cenobite. In this instance, it seems like the lieutenant Cenobite was Pinhead and the main Cenobite was the Gasp. So, but again, everybody did a good job. They made a good horror film, and it was a scary film. The thing that made it scary was the moments leading up to the scary parts, like when you know that when the whole atmosphere starts to change and you know the Cenobites are coming, that the lighting, the staging, the atmosphere that was created, I think it's the filmographer, I'm probably saying that wrong, they did incredible work. The music, the sound, the eeriness, it made you on edge too. The actors that played the people that were like meddling with the Cenobites and with the box, all of those actors did a great job. Goran, he played, I remember him as Luca from ER. And when I first heard that he was going to be in it, I just assumed that they were picking him for Pinhead until I heard about the how they were doing the Pinhead, creating the Pinhead for this film. But he's like the selfish, he's like the selfish guy that wants to dig into all of these incredible pleasures and all that stuff. Like he's the main guy who gets all this mess going. He played his part very well. But then he's like a great actor. I mean, most of the people from ER are incredible actors. But all in all, it was a scary movie. I remember watching the original one. It came out in 87. I probably saw it about a year after that because I was 7 years old in 87. So when it came out on DVD, because my mom and dad collect movies, that's when I saw it, and it was terrifying. And even now I own it, and it's terrifying on DVD. So I definitely had I have a certain love for Hellraiser. I think it's the coolest thing. I think the universe is cool. I've read Hellbound Heart. I am a fan of this story. I am a fan of Clive Barker. So I was really anticipating this. And I was not disappointed at all. Because I didn't go in thinking that I was going to get the original Hellraiser. Not even close. I was going to see a different twist to the Hellraiser, which I was excited because I would love to see something new, something different with this great world that Clive Barker created. And I know that from reading and research, he was a part of it. He had a hand in it as far as just they consulted with him. And you could tell because it still had a level of sophistication that far exceeds most horror films. Which is what made Hellraiser so intriguing. So it was a great film. There was nothing, like I say, the Gasp, played by Selena Liu, had more dominance, and that's what I looked for, and that's what I loved about Pinhead: the dominance, the strength, the just big evil. You know, if you watch Buffy, you know about the big evil, that you felt his big evil presence, you know, and with the Gasp, you felt the big evil presence. She brung that to the character, whereas in here, Pinhead just seems like the spokesperson for the Cenobites, not the big evil. The big evil kind of came more across as the box itself, and when you'll see when this ultimate, they kind of give you a more laid out format of the different phases of the boxes, which was kind of new, and they give you more story. It's more surrounded around the box and the different levels that you can obtain, and it kind of ended the way an after school special would end. It's like, it's kind of weird, but it was like a more horror adult after school special type of ending to it, which was like, okay, that was it, it was a wholesome horror ending. It was a wholesome horror ending. It didn't dig into the human psyche of pleasure and the cycles of pleasure and suffering and the it didn't get into the psychological aspect of it to that extent. It kind of stayed very elementary in that regard, and it just kind of had a, you gotta live with this type of thing at the end. And it was like, that was a nice bow. That was perfect for this era of, nice little, and it makes you think of the NBC, and they say, the more you know at the end, like an after school special ending, but it was still horror. It was still good. It gave what it was supposed to give. I did not expect a film that wasn't, it was based on Clive Barker's work. He consulted on it, but this wasn't a film he wrote and directed himself. That is going to give you next level. That is going to blow your mind. That is a different expectation than the folks that did this adaptation, or this adaptation of it. So for what it was, it gave what it was supposed to give, and I'm not mad at it. I look forward to seeing what the next sequel is, because you are left thinking a possible sequel the way it ended with Void, which is the greedy millionaire of the story, the one who got the box, the guy who's searching. He's like the Frank from the original, because there's always a Frank in these Hellraiser films, the guy who's out here looking for this action and excitement and all the stuff in the world, has given him what he needs, what he wants. He wants something deeper, more. So you're left thinking there's going to be a sequel, and so that's something to look forward to. But yeah, the gas was definitely the highlight of the Cenobites. That's it. You could tell there was some diversity in the Cenobites. They made sure to show what, other people, how they gave you a little in depth to let you know that was there, which is fine. It makes sense with this with this era. I'm gonna say this era, not necessarily this generation, because not everybody in this particular teen adult generation has the same mindset. But I'm gonna say the era of horror now, it gave that, which is fine. As long as it is an entertaining project, I don't care about that. I'm always interested in something that's going to be new and a twist, something different, a different view. It's not going to be like the original. It's not supposed to be. It's not the original. So I did enjoy it. It was a good film. It gave what it's supposed to give. Definitely, if they make any toys out of the Cenobites, I'm getting the gas, because her Cenobite was awesome. Selena's Cenobite was awesome. So that's it. That's my view of it. I think I definitely give it a 4-star, because it was scary, and all the actors did a great job, and the Cenobites, the way that they looked, they just looked like aliens, and I was like, yeah. But, and then the pearls, oh my God, pearls. Okay. It was just, it was different, but it gave what it was supposed to give. It wasn't as dark and grimy as the original, which is fine, but I think it was something to appreciate about that. But it was definitely a good film. I liked it. I do recommend it. It was a good horror film that genuinely scared me. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and peace.